The loss of Kevin Durant has a significant impact on the Brooklyn Nets. He damaged his MCL on his left knee and is expected to be out for 4 to 6 weeks. Having said that, Kyrie Irving is returning, which should help the team weather in the storm. But Irving has his own drama, having recently been punished for quite valid statements he made to a heckling supporter. That should account for the majority of the turmoil going on in Brooklyn right now. James Harden has discovered a method to make his name known. According to independent NBA expert Mark Steen, as reported by Adam Herman of NBC Sports Philadelphia, there are rumblings around the league that Harden may be open to relocating this summer when his contract expires. Would the Brooklyn Nets ever consider trading Harden if he considered leaving? Most emphatically not, but it's entertaining to ponder. So, here are the 3 most explosive NBA transactions involving James Harden. First up, we have the 76ers. In this trade, the 76ers would receive James Harden, the Nets would receive Ben Simmons, Georges Niang, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2026 first-round pick. Given that this entire speculation is based on James Harden being a main target in a Ben Simmons deal, this is an excellent place to begin. There's no secret that the Philadelphia 76ers are interested in Harden, and it's simple to see why. He'd be ideal as a point guard with Joel Embiid. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets would undoubtedly lose a critical piece of their offense, but their defense would vastly improve. Simmons might even fill in at center, a position where they're lacking. While it's exceedingly doubtful that the Nets will trade Harden, it's the most likely scenario. Simmons is still an all-star and a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and the Sixers would almost certainly offer him a deal. Up next, we have the Atlanta Hawks. In this trade, the Hawks will receive James Harden, Paul Millsap, and Javon Carter. The Nets would receive John Collins, Bogdan Bogdanovic, DeAndre Hunter, a 2022 first-round pick, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2026 first-round pick. Now that the Ben Simmons trade has been completed, the fantasy trades can commence. James Harden will not be traded, but if he is, he will most likely be traded to a team where he'll be happy. Atlanta may be one of those locations. Harden and Trae Young will be an unusual but talented pair. The Atlanta Hawks, with their backcourt and any other depth they can put together, would be a playoff club at the absolute least. Paul Millsap and the Brooklyn Nets are apparently looking for a new home for him nonetheless, so he can return to Atlanta. Javon Carter would be added for salary matching considerations. That much is true. This transaction would increase the Nets' depth. KD and Kyrie Irving would share the same starting lineup with John Collins and Bogdan Bogdanovic. The roster's overall depth would be solid, and DeAndre Hunter still has a lot of promise as a 3-and-D player. So, he might be able to carve out a wonderful role for himself in Brooklyn. In terms of the picks, they may be packaged to be traded for greater depth. Overall, as improbable as this trade seems, it wouldn't be a bad consolidation gift if the Nets were already going to lose Harden. And finally, in the last trade, we have the LA Clippers. In this trade, the Clippers would receive James Harden, and the Nets would receive Paul George and a 2023 second-round pick. If there's one place James Harden would prefer to play, it's his hometown. He'd be able to play alongside Kawhi Leonard and the rest of the depth in Los Angeles. The Clippers should only contemplate this extremely impossible dream if Harden commits to a long-term deal. Otherwise, it would be very irrational. But if Harden chose to play there in the long run, there's a case to be made that his playstyle would mesh better with Leonard's than Paul George's. According to sources, Leonard has always been desired to play with a point guard. This would provide long-term stability for the Nets. George is under contract for the foreseeable future, and they would still have an exceptional big three to call on. KD and Paul George would form a dangerous 1-2 punch, and George would even help them improve their defensive performance. Well guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Sport Inc., and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.